Hey guys, welcome back to High Conflict Co-Parenting Unplugged. My name is Grandma Divorce, and I'm here to talk to you guys about my co-parenting and divorce journey. And possibly a narcissistic abuse survivor? And that sounds really crazy to say because there are some things that happened in my marriage that I never said out loud. And lately I've been talking to a lot of people regarding the breakdown of my marriage. And that led me to believe that I might have been married to a covert narcissist for 20 years and I had no idea. And upon recounting a lot of the things that I experienced in the last few years of my marriage before it ended, people started telling me that they thought that maybe I was emotionally abused. Now, this caught me really off guard. It sounds really weird to say because I actually consider myself to be a very mentally strong person. So to say that I might have been emotionally abused by a covert narcissist is so foreign and weird to me. Now, this all started because my therapist started asking me if I was ever physically abused. And I recounted this one time, and only happened this one time, where I got in an argument with my husband. And I was pretty young at the time, so I remember being much bolder. Anyway, the argument was over something terribly dumb, but I do remember that he wanted to walk away from the argument and I wasn't finished talking. So I followed him and said, "We're not done talking about this." But he was absolutely done. He basically wanted to shut the door on me. And when that didn't work, because I pushed myself through the door, he grabbed my arm and pushed me up against the stair railing. And I remember the next day having a big bruise on my arm with his handprint on it. And I remember distinctly this because he woke me up the next morning and he was staring at this bruise. And it never happened again after that. So I never thought about it being an abusive thing. But then it made me start thinking about all the other fights after that and why it never happened again. It was because I actually trained myself to only let that happen once. Never again did I ever get in a fight with him where I still continue to push the fight if he wanted to end it. That led to basically whenever I would bring something up that bothered me, he would basically point out all the things that I did wrong. If I said something like, "Hey, I really hate it when you wipe your hands on paper towels and just throw it all over the kitchen," it would turn into like, "Well, you do X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, and I don't like that." So that led me into never bringing up problems with him ever. And then that turned into whenever he wanted to criticize and berate me, and sometimes those conversations would be 15 or 30 minutes long, I would just shut down altogether. I would just let him yell at me and never fight back or never say anything. Because during this time, I remember that he had a lot of rage episodes where he was punching walls and throwing things in the backyard, walking around the house in a huff, and muttering under his breath. You just never knew what mood he was going to be in when you walked in the house that day. And in a lot of ways, I walked around the house on eggshells. I locked myself up in my room. I learned to not have an emotional reaction about things because it would trigger him. And now I am the source of his hatred and his rage and his contempt because sometime in the last 3 months, I started fighting back. I started defending myself if he's told me something like, "You never cleaned the toilet." And I would say, "Well, I was the one that cleaned the whole entire trailer before it went to storage. You didn't say anything about that. I didn't use the toilet the whole time we were on vacation." And I remember distinctly, I said to him during an argument that he had mommy issues, and he got real quiet after that. I'm pretty sure I triggered his shame so badly. That is the reason why this series of events, all the way from episode 1, has happened until now. And he's doing it through my children because he knows that's what really hurts me. The latest sneaky thing he has done, though, is he is contesting our date of separation. I think it's because he thinks that if he contests that and say that we separated sooner rather than later, I will have less claims to certain assets. It's actually the most sneaky, underhanded, snake-like thing he has done yet. Because I have email proof, I have money proof showing that he knew that he was getting those assets with me as husband and wife. And you know what they say, the person you marry is not the person you divorce. And that is so true, especially for me, because honestly, I fell in love with this man when I was a child. I was 17 at the time. I didn't know better. And these problems that I was having in my marriage, I thought they were normal marriage problems. I thought to myself, all marriages go through their ups and downs. This is probably a normal marriage thing. I had no other relationships to compare it to. And I'm not going to be really honest with you guys. I don't feel like my parents' marriage was the best role model either. So I had no idea that I was in an abusive, toxic marriage. Until now, when I'm saying these things out loud to people and they say to me, that's not normal. People are actually shocked when I tell them some of these things. And to tell you the truth, I am in shock myself. I still ask myself every single day, how did I go on 20 years and not realize this? How did I not see the red flags? But just honestly, I didn't know any better. And maybe you didn't know any better either. Honestly, I have no other words. Thanks for tuning in today. Make sure you subscribe. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.